Hey everyone, welcome back to Feed Your Brand celebration of International Women's Day. And I have a fabulous woman to bring to you today. I know that you're going to just love her. And I know that you're going to love her topic and what we're talking about because we're now on the sort of like relationship side of the day as we did a lot of business this morning. But I've got Esateys. Esateys is she just goes by that, but her last name is Stuchiner. So Esateys, though, has a fabulous podcast called Relationships Done Different. She has a co-host with her husband, Rafael. And so we have a great time getting to know you as we started this podcast, Esateys. And you have got a tremendous amount of experience transforming, being a coach, building great relationships, building transformations, and getting people to self-heal. Like that's such an important part of what you do. And so you actually have a self-healing institute.
That's correct. We do have a self-healing institute where there are hundreds of articles about healing yourself. And the podcast has a very strong lean towards relationships, but relationship is always first with self. So we call it Done Different because it's not like, okay, how am I going to make him happy, or how is she going to do something right so I can like her or whatever. It's more like, who am I? What am I in the relationship? Who am I in the relationship? And who am I in life? So it really takes us to a much deeper core level.
I love that. And, it's so important, though, that we as women especially take the time to really self-heal and really make sure that we're a whole person because we are spreading ourselves thin, a lot of us.
Thin, it's like transparent. I work with so many people and my coaching and I do retreats and all these things, and it's primarily women, although it's not exclusive to women. What I find is we as women, as a collective, and I know this won't be new news to anyone, is that we are very good at giving. We're just so good at making sure everybody else is okay. And somewhere down in there, we're there, maybe, but usually not at a high enough priority to where we are fulfilled. We don't take care of ourselves in a way that is important. So a lot of the emphasis is the ultimate relationship is with self. So unless we can fill ourselves up and then overflow to the world, we are going to always be running a little bit close to empty, if not completely overdrawn. And because of that, it's a great healing for self. And what's miraculous is somehow it seems like the outer world changes from that.
Yeah, isn't that funny how that works?
Yeah.
Yeah, I come from a long line of women who were very self-sacrificing. Like my Nan, who I adore, and she just would cook for people, she would serve people, she was always on her feet. It was just, typical Italian grandmother, right? And that's what it was. And I grew up with that thinking like that's how it was supposed to be. And I learned really early on because I ended up with this amazing man in my life who were like, no, let me serve you. Let me help you. And I was like,
Wow.
whoa, like it doesn't have to be. Relationships can be different, right? And so gotta love how that happens, right? That we have the opportunity to change the path of what we've seen before us.
It's very powerful for you to say that because what occurs is that we have all this lineage. And those of us, especially those of us that are over 20, we come from parents that have been around for a while and they learn over and over again that women were, maybe this big and they didn't have that much support to really come out and be themselves. We always used to joke and say to my mom, uh, something about a martyr, and it's like I had somebody say to me, well, you're kind of acting like a martyr, and I said, I can't be a martyr, my mom has all the martyr awards already. And I say it to her because I mean she had 7 children herself, and then we had 4 that were adopted, so there was 11 kids, and all she did was run herself ragged. And so much of the time she wasn't feeling as great as she could possibly feel emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And it was a great message for me. It helped me understand that that's the way we grow up. I mean, she was born in the 20s. And in those days, you didn't ever think about yourself. We're progressing. And I'm very excited about that. So, how awesome that you have a man that says, how can I serve you? How can I
Right.
wait on you? It's like, you're going to have a lot of input from people that are watching this, and they're going to go, where can I find one of those?
I have had offers. My husband is very desirable. I know that, and it is because you know what? There is something absolutely sexy and wonderful about somebody who unconditionally loves you, right? That's like
Yes.
it's just wonderful, and who doesn't want a piece of that? And that's a really great way though to go out in the world. And so that's always what I did take from my grandmother. I did take from my nan was that she gave unconditional love all the time, but that it doesn't have to be complete self-sacrifice in order to make that happen. So I can honor her and what she did that was so wonderful, but I can also be my own. And I think that showed the best for me was that she was so proud that I was out there building businesses and doing things that being different than her wasn't, a reflection on me rejecting that.
Well, see, that's very powerful and exciting that you had that kind of support. Many women today don't have that support. They don't have that special person that helps them become empowered. We work a lot on empowerment and being authentic. We never learned how to really be authentic. When we grow up, we're told how we're supposed to look, how we're supposed to feel, and it comes from our parents, it comes from our siblings, it comes from the internet. For those of us that had internet when they were growing up, and for
Not me.
from me either. So the media does, in those days it might have been radio and television, but the bottom line is when we're a blank slate, when we're young, somebody tells us something, we think that's it. We think that's real. That must be the way I'm supposed to be. So by the time we hit a certain age, it's like, boom, we're like glassed over. We don't even know what authenticity is. We don't know what our real heart's desire is. We don't know how to stand up or speak for ourselves in a way that we are capable of and this world needs. Women are amazing, and it's helping them understand that they are, and that takes a complete transformation for some, not as much for others, but that's the kind of work that really makes a difference in you as an individual.
Well, and I think that that's actually because you are co-hosting with Rafael and you have that kind of relationship going on. You have also the dynamic of saying, well, in a world where us women get to shine too, that
Yes.
means that doesn't take something away from you as a male, that it's just you have to transition and you have to transform as well. And that is a really, I think we leave that behind too often.
I agree with you. And men are a little bit shaken by the things that are happening because there's a part of them that is a little bit threatened, some more than others. But the bottom line is to have a man be very clear in who they are, then they don't become threatened. Rather, they join in and it becomes an augmentation. When Raphael and I do the podcast, it's really awesome because we can banter back and forth and he can have his opinion and I can have mine. And even though mine is always right, I let him think it's okay sometimes. And, it's just kind of fun
I got you
to
there.
be that way. You know what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
don't you?
exactly. Yeah, because I'm Tom and I co-host together all the time. Yep, gotcha.
Oh,
So I absolutely, I love that, and I think that that's really is the power of what you're doing and how you're getting your message out into the world, and what you're working through is that you are opening up these perspectives and these viewpoints, and you're really helping people see themselves and see how they can help themselves and how they can move through from wherever they are today.
exactly. Tracy, I have been working for a lot of years with people in so many different areas. And one of the things that runs across the board is whether it's a man or a woman, if you ask them what their real core desire is, it's happiness. People
Mhm.
want to be in a place where they're very, very happy. So I have this little system called the I Choose system where we get to know that happiness is a choice, but people don't know that is possible. They don't know that's available. And so we really work very enthusiastically and with great passion to help women and men awaken to the happiness that's already in here. But we cover it up with so many belief systems and programs and ideas about how we're supposed to be, which is where the authenticity gets lost. And when we start to help each person wake up to whom it is that they truly are, then what occurs is that there is a major transformation that occurs. And when you feel like you are being whom it is that you truly are, and you speak your truth and you don't let anything or anyone get in the way, then what happens is the world seemingly out there has to kind of remold and malleate itself so that you will notice that the world seems to be appreciating you differently. You get to be heard differently. But unless you have that in here, it's a very difficult thing. So it goes back to the inside business. And for those of you that are in business, which of course we all are, it's the inside business that's going to really create the outer business being different. And the inside business really is about who we are, how we feel, how connected we feel, how safe we feel. Safety is a really big thing. So it just kind of goes on. It's a transformation from inner to outer.
So you've got small retreats that you do, and they sound fabulous. So I want you to tell us a little bit about them. But your most current one is called Dare to Be Happy. And
That's
I
very
love
true.
that because I've been reinforcing that with my younger daughters. So I have a 9-year-old and a 4-year-old, in addition to Alexandra, who you know. And I keep saying, you know what, today you can wake up and you can choose to be happy, or you can choose to be grumpy today, because sometimes they wake up on the wrong side of the bed. And so we have that conversation very regularly. And you can choose to be kind, I'm always framing it in the world that you have a choice to do this. And that's what you're saying. You're not only telling us to choose, you're daring us to do it, which makes it so that we rally to that. And
Come on.
I'm gonna dare them tomorrow morning and see what happens. So I love that. You've inspired me already on how I can change something that I'm doing.
That is awesome. I love that you are so aware, so awake, and that your children, what a gift they have to have somebody who is already teaching them at this age, because they will have a whole different life than many of us that didn't have that kind of support. So when we are speaking about daring to be happy, our retreat is a 3-day retreat, and it's really about recognizing all the stuff we have in the way of what's really getting us experiencing the true happiness that we have. Within us is true joy. And that happiness comes out when we have kind of cleared away this stuff. So these 3 days literally transform people in a way that is phenomenal. There's layers of stuff just comes off, even if they never speak, they just sit there like this. I mean, I've had a few people do that. They can't help themselves. They're dancing out of there at the end because there's something just so beautiful that occurs in us when we feel safe, we feel gotten. We can see those belief systems that are not accurate. They're not really even appropriate for ourselves in today's world. So what happens in those 3 days is a truly a total transformation, and it's done in a way that is very safe and nurturing. But we have a lot of fun too. We dance and we watch movies, and we just do everything that is awesome. And at the end, people have a take-home plan that they can continuously follow up with, so they know their blueprint or their map for success, whether it be in their business or their relationship or their personal love of self or their children. It affects all of those things, and that's what we do. So we're doing one in the Portland, Oregon, in the first weekend in May, and we are doing one in Saratoga, California, which is I believe the 24th through the 26th in Saratoga, which is right near San Jose.
Right.
And an incredibly powerful opportunity to have everything come to awareness so you can live your life and choose. You get to choose your happiness, and this time you'll recognize you really have a choice.
I love that. Well, we've been talking today about the hashtag Balance for Better, which the International Women's Day organization gave us as that. I added hashtag Life in Harmony because, see, you're making the face. So for those of you who are listening to the podcast, you're going to have to look at the video because she just made the face that pretty much everyone has made on it, which is none of us love the balance for better. Like none of us love the word balance. And it's so interesting that we've shifted out of that. And I'm so thankful for that, because that is not, I actually went on stage once and said, balance is BS. I actually said the words, but and got
I like it.
applause. So, so that's where I think we are. So tell me a little bit about how you approach that sort of idea of balance, but with that rejecting probably that word.
Well, balance, it really is a myth. It's an illusion to think that you can be balanced, because we have passions in certain areas of our life at certain times in our lives. And so balance means that you're into whatever it is that you're into. It doesn't mean you ignore the rest of your life or that you shun it. But if you look at your life, you'll see that in each moment, you get an opportunity to be alive, awake, and passionate, empowered in that moment, whatever that moment is. So most people have heard of be here now or be present. In that moment, you are all in. You're not balanced. You're just all in helping your kids do whatever it is that they're doing, or you're all in making that presentation, or you're all in being with your partner, or you're all in fighting with your partner, or loving with your partner, or you're all in with knowing how to become the most awesome person you could ever dream or imagine to be. And so each person in each moment, if you start to incrementalize it down to the moment, then you see that you are balanced in that moment, because that's the only thing that matters. Then when you're out of that moment, you give yourself 100% to the next thing. And when you're done with that moment, you give yourself 100% to what's next. And sometimes there's going to be periods in our lives where we're all in because we got a project. We need to get this done. And another time it's going to be, well, maybe my body's not feeling so good, so I'm all in to get myself healthy, girl.
Yeah.
And so we just have to be with what is, and the balance comes with being impeccable, completely present and authentic to wherever it is that we are. But to try to juggle all these things at once and think that they're all going to be in this perfect little thing, eh, I've never been able to do it. If you can give me some secret hints, go for it.
No, I don't think that's how it's supposed to work. Like, this is, I keep saying this. So I was a ballet dancer as for most of my young life,
Awesome.
and standing on point, you cannot sustain that forever. You
That's a
can't balance like that
great
forever.
analogy.
Right. So why would we want that? I mean, it's not sustainable. I want something that is sustainable at the end of the day. So if it's not that, then, maybe it's having a partner, maybe it's having a team, maybe it's, whatever that might be. And so that's why I actually shifted the term to harmony, that if I have a harmonious life, then I get to shine when I want to shine. And I can take the background and support somebody else when I'm ready. And I can just be I can be a backup singer. Right. So
Yeah.
I can do whatever I want, right? And so it gives me moments of rest too within there. And so to me that just seemed like a much better way to look at it than balance. And I rejected it really early on, and I think that has really saved me for most of my life, to say I don't have to subscribe to somebody else's ideal of a perfect mom or a perfect entrepreneur or whatever that is. I get to choose what that is and what that means for me.
And
Yeah.
that's very, very empowering. And that's the authenticity that I was speaking about, and being present in the moment. Because if you're all in that moment, then that's harmony.
Yeah.
And when we are scattered so thin, which I happen to be an expert at, or at least in the past have been, or multitasking, still a little addicted to that. But the bottom line is that when I'm really right here, like I'm right here with you, I'm right here with the people, sensing that all of their feelings and all these kinds of things, when that occurs, then there's nothing. It's like having blinders on. And when you have blinders on in the moment, you're in the zone. You feel really harmonious, as you were speaking
That's right.
about.
It makes me feel like I'm getting to be me. So I love that your voice is getting out in the world, Esateys. I'm sorry, and
That's okay.
I just love that it's getting out in the world. And I'm so glad your podcast got started, and I'm so glad we could support you and Rafael in making that happen, because you've got a very powerful message, and you've got it cascading through generations of us women who need to hear this message too. So that's why I'm glad to bring you here on International Women's Day.
Well, I am blessed truly to be here, and I feel honored that you have connected with me in this way and allowed me to speak, because I do have a few years, as you said, to be able to share that wisdom. I know there's always a gift in that. When I was younger, I never thought there would be a gift, but truly, I'm very excited, because there's things that I have experienced, I know, and I have learned from so many other people that have made my life more awesome than I could ever dream or imagine. And so it's really, it is truly awesome to be able to help others. If I can help one person, but I really want to help literally a million people really shift their belief systems about who they are and what they are capable of, and help them find life, then I feel like my reason for being here is really being fulfilled. And that's very exciting for me. That's my
Well,
mission.
your reach is expanding. So, Relationships Done Different podcast. Esateys, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Tracy. This has really been a gift. And so you keep on being what I call the prairie woman that you are. We use the
Oh,
term prairie woman when women just step up and do what needs to be done. Forget about whether you're tired and blah, blah, blah. You do what you need to do, but always from the place of authenticity, transformation, and being in the moment, and allow yourself to feel the happiness of what it is that that brings to you.
oh, thank you.
Thank you, Tracy. Take care.